Here we go. This is two of my favorite movies of all time in this set. This is the 4 film favorites Lethal Weapon collection. The first two are two of my favorite movies of all time. The first one being my favorite, but 3 and 4 are pretty good. I like them. Liar Liar, one of my favorite comedies of all time. The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. Lincoln. Pretty good. Not Spielberg's greatest movie. I think I need to give it another shot. The Little Mermaid, Disney classic. I think they're remaking that live action as well. Little Miss Sunshine. Pretty funny movie. The Lion King. I think it's good, but I think it's the most overrated Disney movie ever made. The Lives of Others. This is a great German movie. It's so good. Check it out. Local Hero. A very unique movie. Pretty quirky and just, I don't know, it has a very unique style and sense of humor. Lone Star. This is a lesser known Western. This is, you really have to check this out. I watched it last summer and I was just glued to it the whole time. If you're into Westerns and you haven't heard of this, then you really need to check it out. It's kind of false advertising because they make it look like Chris Christopherson and Matthew McConaughey are the stars. They're not. It's Chris Cooper. And that's all you need, because Chris Cooper is a damn good actor, and I think he's an underrated actor. Here we go. Here's a lesser known classic for you. The Long Goodbye. Great kind of semi-mystery, kind of noirish type of movie. But it's very good, and probably Elliot Gould's best performance. Lords of Dogtown. It's alright. Heath Ledger's pretty good in it, and you can hear, like, this is like, 5 years or 4 years before The Dark Knight, and you can kind of hear his Joker voice in this role. A little bit, just a little bit. The Lost Boys. Love this movie. So goofy, but it is such a fun movie. One of Joel Schumacher's best movies. Lost in Translation. Great romance movie. Love Actually. Another pretty good romance movie. Oh, we have Love and Death. A very, very funny Woody Allen movie. M. Classic with Peter Lorre. The Machinist. This is a underrated gem right here. Check that out, especially if you're a Christian Bale fan. Mad Max. I liked it a lot better the second time, actually. Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. I gotta be honest with you. I think the Mad Max film series as a whole is a little overrated. I mean, it's not bad or anything. I mean, I really appreciate the stunt work, and I really appreciate the art and the craft of the making of those films. But I don't know. It's just not enough. I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal thing with me. I don't hate them. I really respect them. And honestly, my favorite, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. I really like this. I don't know why. I'm one of those people. I think 1, 2, and 4 are a little overrated. I think this one's underrated. Mad Max Fury Road. I did like it a lot more the second time. Didn't care for it the first time, but it's pretty good. The Magnificent Ambersons. I think this was Orson Welles' follow-up to Citizen Kane, and it was considered a big disappointment, and now it's considered like one of the greatest movies ever made. And it's kind of, it's one of those movies that there's a director's cut or something like that of it, and it's just like, it's considered like the holy grail amongst film fans and stuff like that. But the movie works pretty well for being chopped down to 88 minutes. So it could have been a lot longer, but what we get is just 88 minutes, and it works for being 88 minutes. The Magnificent Seven, not the crappy remake. This is the good Magnificent Seven with Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen and Charles Bronson and Eli Wallach. Oh, such a good cast. And yeah, this is a really good Western. Magnolia, have not gotten to see this yet, and I can't wait. I'm really dying to see it. Malcolm X, one of my favorite movies of all time. This is a masterpiece right here. This is Spike Lee's best movie. Way better than Do the Right Thing, way better than, Mo Better Blues. This is his best movie. The Maltese Falcon. Very good classic noir movie. Mallrats. Probably my least favorite View Askew movie. A Man for All Seasons. I almost said A Man of All Seasons. Manhattan. Manhunter. This was actually the first Hannibal Lecter movie ever made. A lot of people think it was Silence of the Lambs, but this came way before that. This was made in 1986. And this movie screams 80s in a good way. But many people don't know that this movie even exists. I would highly suggest checking this out if you're going to get into the Hannibal Lecter movies. You might want to start with either this or The Silence of the Lambs. I wouldn't say this is the best one to start with. Start with Silence of the Lambs. And watch this before you watch any of the sequels to Silence of the Lambs. It has Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter. You'll know him as Stryker from X-Men 2. And William Peterson, which is Grissom from CSI. He plays, what's his name? Will Graham in this. So, yeah. Here we have The Man with No Name trilogy. Very great Western trilogy. You got A Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, which is better than A Fistful of Dollars. And then you have, of course, the classic The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which, yes, is superior to the previous two movies. One of the greatest Westerns ever made. But I also think that these two are two of the greatest Westerns ever made as well. So this whole trilogy, all three of these are three of the greatest Westerns ever made. If you're just getting into Westerns, these are essential to start with, I'd say. The Man Who Would Be King. One of my favorites of all time. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This is this movie just really makes me overly nostalgic. Really overly nostalgic. I can't even talk. Here we have Mary Poppins. Very good Disney film. The Master. Now here's a trilogy I'm not too big on, but this box is beautiful. Matrix trilogy box set. Look at that. Look how awesome that looks. I do really like the first film. It is very good. So there's the cover for the first one. And then you have The Matrix Reloaded, which is okay. And then you have the piece of crap, The Matrix Revolutions. That was just a terrible movie. Terrible conclusion. Matrix Reloaded is tolerable. It's tolerable. But I think they just had lightning in a bottle with that first film, and after that they just couldn't top that. Alright, we have Man of Steel, probably right now my favorite of the DC universe. I haven't really seen all of them, but I saw this in the theater and I really liked it. I really liked it. The Mask, one of my childhood favorites, and man, Cameron Diaz in that movie when I was a kid, I was all about Cameron Diaz in this movie. A Matter of Life and Death. We have McCabe and Mrs. Miller. Kind of a lesser-known Western film, but some describe it as an anti-Western. Either way, if you're a Western fan and you haven't seen this, give it a watch. Very good movie. Mean Streets, I think Scorsese's most overrated movie. I've seen this movie maybe 3 times, and I don't get it. I don't get why people love it so much. I mean, it's okay. It's just an average, mob movie. It's not one of the best or anything. Here we go. Now this is one of my treasures right here. The Mel Brooks collection. I am a huge Mel Brooks fan. Yeah, when he dies, I'm going to be sad, that's for sure. But the movies in this, if you're a Mel Brooks fan, get this set. So the movies in this are The 12 Chairs, which is one of his more underrated films. Blazing Saddles, one of the funniest movies ever made. Young Frankenstein, another one of the funniest movies ever made. Silent Movie, another one of the funniest movies ever made to me. High Anxiety, another one of the funniest movies ever made. History of the World Part 1, maybe not one of the funniest, but pretty funny. To Be or Not to Be, Robin Hood Men in Tights, nothing that special. You have the Meet the Parents and Meet the Fockers collection. I think Meet the Parents is probably my second favorite comedy of all time, behind Dumb and Dumber. Meet the Fockers, I don't really need that. I was really disappointed by Meet the Fockers. Memento, oh great Christopher Nolan film. Very unique. Men in Black, one of my favorite movies of all time. I love this movie. It's like a 90s version of Ghostbusters, but I think it's funnier, honestly. This is one of the funniest movies ever made to me. You don't really need the sequels, though. Metropolis, one of the most famous silent films ever made. The effects in this movie were just so ahead of their time. Here we have the Robert Rodriguez Mexico trilogy. And in this you have El Mariachi, which might be my favorite of them, actually. It's the only one that's in Spanish. And then you have Desperado. And Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which is... I feel like it tried too hard. I think it tried too much. Felt overly ambitious. Midnight Cowboy. The first time I watched this, I thought it was overrated. Second time, still a little overrated, but it grew on me. Midnight Run. Pretty decent road trip comedy film from the 80s. Here we have the four Coen brothers favorites. Comes with Miller's Crossing, Raising Arizona, Blood Simple, and Fargo. My favorite of the four being Raising Arizona. Hands down one of the funniest movies ever made, but Miller's Crossing is very good, Blood Simple is very good, Fargo is very good. Can't go wrong with this set. Misery. Oh, great Stephen King adaptation. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. The Misfits, Clark Gable and Marilyn Monroe's last movie, which is strange. Decent movie for them to end on. Nothing spectacular, but a decent movie. Now we have the Mission Impossible DVD trilogy. I think this was had to have been made before the fourth movie came out, but here we have Mission Impossible, which is okay. Mission Impossible 2, piece of crap. Mission Impossible 3, really good. Here's my favorite, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Paula Patton looks so good in that movie. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Mission Impossible Fallout. Have not seen it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard it's considered like one of the greatest action movies of all time now. Modern Times, Charlie Chaplin classic. Monsters Inc., one of my favorite Pixar movies. Monsters University, kind of an underrated prequel to that. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. This movie is just endlessly quotable. First time I watched it, I did not appreciate it, but the second time I watched it, I think this is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. Here we have Monty Python's Life of Brian. The opposite with this. I thought this was one of the funniest movies I ever saw the first time. Second time, it was still funny, but I don't know. I think it kind of lost its charm the second time. Monty Python and the Meaning of Life. I have not seen this one yet. Moon. Moonrise Kingdom. Mother. This is a underrated comedy. I love Albert Brooks' humor. I think this is his best movie. Yeah, check this out if you can find it anywhere. And one of my favorite movies of all time, too, I should say. Moulin Rouge. It's alright. It's not as bad as, like, Nostalgia Critic says it is, but it's alright. Mulholland Drive. Oh, this is a movie right here. It's almost homework. And look at this. It even comes with, very unique, it actually comes with David Lynch's 10 clues to unlocking this thriller. So, a lot of people have their interpretations. I might do a review on this one day. One of the interpretations I kind of tend to agree with, but I'm not going to say yet.